a very awkward position I'm getting into. Okay, so with the success of the blighted Springtrap video, or what I consider success considering the size of my channel, I'm going to do regular Springtrap's anatomy. Now, somebody had asked this, and if I was going to do one, or that they wanted one, and I had already made the decision to try to do it. Regular default Springtrap William Afton is a lot harder to find. You can see on Sketchfab that the blighted Springtrap model I used was over here. I needed the naked one, but for some reason they made a lot of questionable decisions, including a red background with a reddish-brown model, so they also left in, like, the ears, the eyes, the nose. It's weird. We'll get to that in a minute. This model better background. This model has all the animations with it. I've got a cat in my lap now, so this might be a little harder. The one who uploaded this still kind of made some questionable decisions with, like, the bump maps and some of the detail, but it's workable. At least more so than the naked one. I'll do both, but we'll start with this one and I'll move over to the quote-unquote naked one. Because, as much as I love the DBD model of Springtrap, it's really hard to see William in there. But it is also interesting to be able to see all of his animations attached. Including, I believe, yeah, his intro animations. In case you ever wondered what he did off of, wondered what he did off screen, he slides. Try to open this without causing the computer to crash. So this might confuse some people. How I ended up here is, as you saw, the one who uploaded William Afton's quote-unquote naked form, made a lot of questionable decisions, including a dark red background with a dark red/brown model, so it made it very hard to see. Then they left in the endoskeleton, the spring locks, the ears, the eyes, and the nose. I don't know. I don't know why they did that. And then, so I downloaded the model. I tried to take it pretty much everywhere. I downloaded Blender. Blender wouldn't take the textures on it. When I tried, it looked like the UVs got screwed up somewhere. So I also tried doing, like, the SFM stuff again, and for some reason it will not download workshop models. Now, I'm not very good with SFM. I'm not used to it. I was taught in Maya and ZBrush, which is what you see on the screen. So SFM is kind of confusing me, and it's not accepting any of the workshop models I'm trying to download, and it's not giving me an option to download them, and I can't figure out how to get them in. So last resort was downloading FBX from Sketchfab, pulling it in, importing it into ZBrush, and that's where it currently is. That's what you see on the screen right now. It's been an all-day thing. It's been very complicated. It's been a pain in my ass. If anyone by chance knows an easier way to, like, see these without having to get a ripping program and ripping them myself, please let me know, because this was not fun to try to figure this out just to see the model, and then having to try to rely on other people to make good decisions when uploading it. It's just a pain. Oh, and I did try to re-upload this without all of the mess you see, and the UVs got screwed again going back into Sketchfab. So long story short, it's just easier for me to bring it into ZBrush so I can do everything I need to do myself. I brought it all in as different subtools. You see them over here. This way I can hide and change things as I need. Now, you might also notice it looks a little blurry, it looks a little blocky. That's because ZBrush is technically used for high poly models. I showed a picture of the avatar I've been working on from my logo. That is like 2 million polygons, and as you can see, the total point up here is 57. Which is why it looks blocky. It's in the like preview state. When I want to get... I'll change him now. When I want a better view when I'm looking, I'll just do a quick BPR render. That way it won't look so terrible. Let's see. Do a test. Should be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. He's a little shiny because of the material I've chosen, which is just a skin shader. I chose a lighter one just because it'll let me see things better. But with that, let's try to see what's going on with Naked Afton. So, said we got his intestines. I don't know if I want the dynamic on for this. Probably not. So, his intestines are down here. How did they end up down here? Well, they fell out. I'm almost positive they just kind of fell out. If you want to know why, I'll show you. But first, let's see. I don't know why these are in this order. His legs. Without the shell, it's so much easier to see everything. So his legs, both of them, more is right. That's the calf. So about 2/3 of his leg is there. He's about missing a third here and maybe a fourth over here. Okay, so anyway, what's interesting is there are 2 cages around his leg. Okay, anyway, you have there's 2 cages. So you can see this inner cage here, which is what's attached to his leg. And then you see the big outer cage here. So if I had to take a guess, this is for the shell. This, in the interior one, is a spring lock. So this one, the little one on the inside, is what snapped back and dug in. And it looks like, yeah, that's probably what cut his leg off down here. And then it as it decayed, it just kind of shriveled up. But these long bars are what the shell attaches to, and then I would assume a combination are what help support the weight. Let's go down here. Now, interesting, I'll try to find a picture of it, but the original Springtrap had very blocky feet from FNAF 3. Behavior did an amazing job. Again, they don't deserve their design team. But you can see 5 toes, the joints, the way it moves. This would also explain why he's very mobile. Because if this was just one big block of metal, it would be very hard to walk. If you ever watch somebody walk, their heel, which this part right here, acts as the heel. You can see it's made to move and bend. Extra support here, supports here, bracing here. Got the heel back here, and then another support here. So this is meant to move like an actual foot. And back up to his leg. The knee guards. This is the back of the knee. And then the hip. Up here to where the hip is. Now if we take this off, we can see his legs as is. And it's horrifying. So when it's rendered, you can see it better. You can actually see the division of the muscles. And that is indeed the femur, the head of the femur. It's a little low, I think. I'll have to look at it in a minute. Do you see the knee? I also might be getting a little confused because his legs aren't as long as they should be. Might be throwing off my perspective. You see the kneecaps, kneecap, then you see the muscle coming up, you see a muscle over here, you see another muscle over here, you see it on both sides. Let's see what it look like from the back. Yeah, the back of the knees, his calves are gone. You can see those muscles coming up, you can see the division of the muscles here, the heads of the femur. Everyone's favorite part, the pelvis. Yeah, so you see the belly button here, this big long scar, which doesn't do anything. Might be here. Okay, yeah. There's nothing that would have caused that scar. The shadow isn't helping, but even without the render, you can see part of the spring lock here on the underside. You can see it here on the other side. There's nothing spring lock or outer shell that would have caused that. So I wonder what that's from. I'm genuinely curious where that scar came from. But back to... Okay. So this, I believe, is the crest of his hip bone. The other crest is over here. His belly button. It's kind of hard to see everything. It's so dark. He is asymmetrical, which also explains why he leans to one side. He's not got enough muscle on one side. So you can see the hip coming down. See it coming down here. I can't tell if it's complete or if it's been damaged in the middle, which is why it's off center like that. Looking at it straight on, you can definitely tell where that lean comes from. This hip is higher than this one. His hip is slightly tilted to the side. The attachments of muscles here, here. This is the other side of the femur, I believe. This one seems to be not attached. At least, well, it might be. Kind of hard to see or tell. I don't think this one's actually attached. At least not the bone. If it is, it's dislocated, I think. So, you can see in the inside, one of my favorite facts, naked William has a tail. Right there. Technically, I believe that's the tip of the tailbone. But he has shriveled up, and he's shriveled up enough to where, like, the tip of his tailbone is sticking out. Like, he can't wiggle it or anything, obviously, but he does have a tiny little tail in this mess. Now, you can also see the inside. This, I've shown this with blighted Springtrap. This is the two halves of the pelvis trying to meet. They should be connected. There should be like a ligament in between, and they should be connected. They are not. His pelvis split in half. Now back to his organs down here. I would guess, if I had to take a guess, that, because I'm not gonna model his insides, but a very awkward position I'm getting into. There should be flesh right here. There should be, he has no glutes, and he has no butt cheeks. They've pulled back, they've decayed, if you want to call it. I believe I said in the blighted Springtrap video, he's kind of an undead that hasn't fed. He's kind of withered. That still holds true. Because again, he regrows himself when he will start to regenerate when he's out of the suit, or when parts of it get knocked off. But if that's his tailbone, then his anus should be about here. All that you see is a giant gaping hole. So this would be the end of his intestines. And as you can see, everything in here just pulled back, decayed, withered. So whatever. So in short, when this pelvis split, or was forced further apart, and the ligament destroyed, and the flesh and the meat and the muscle that was holding everything in there kind of withered. Everything it was holding out, or holding in, had apparently just dropped all the way down here. So yeah, his intestines just kind of dropped out of a hole in his pelvic bone. Now, how they got wrapped around his feet is a different mystery, unless for some reason he did it himself to, I don't know, make a statement or take them with him. I don't. It's weird. I don't know, it's weird. Like, it's one of the great mysteries. It's like the, 2-3 lock box that Scott always teases, and everybody wonders why or what's in it. Well, mystery number 2 is why his intestines are around his ankles. You know how they got out of his body. New question is how they get wrapped around his ankle. Cute little tail. Imagine if that wiggled. Not that anyone would ever see it, because, yeah, because then the suit's pelvis is in the way, so you'd never see it, but still. He's got a tail. The fact they gave him a tail. So this is a little different than blighted Springtrap. Or it could just be like the blighted serum just pushed off or destroyed parts of it. I'm not sure which. This is the spine of the endoskeleton. When it snapped back hard. It's lodged in there. If you want to know how lodged, it's part of the mesh. It's not separate. All you see is the top of it. Pull back a bit, and now what's interesting is that nothing from the endoskeleton's hips got lodged in there. The spine did. It almost seems like Spring Bonnie was made specifically for William, and, you know, as one of the creators, it probably was, but because the spring locks are perfectly set to his body. This is his pelvis. This sets perfectly on the back of his pelvis, almost in the perfect position. And then you have like the lumbar, I think they're the lumbar spines. The lumbar spine, the thoracic spine, or not spine, vertebrae. lumbar vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae. The cervical would, I think, be up here somewhere. Like I said before, it's been a long time since I had human anatomy. But you can see... Render it. You can see it almost lines up perfectly with his body, except it's a little low part of the pelvis. But you can see this is the part, I believe, in blighted Springtrap where you see it it's screwed in. Now obviously they put more emphasis on blighted Springtrap in this area in more detail because you see it. Because of the suit's destruction and deterioration on blighted Springtrap, they obviously put more detail in places you would see. You won't see this on normal Springtrap because of the suit's pelvis, or the remains of Spring Bonnie's pelvic piece. Spine, you can see his muscles coming in to the sides. Now this is very interesting too because it seems, looking at it, most of William's tilt, or that odd stance he has, is from him, like the way his hip broke or separated. So he's leaning to one side. You can see it right here, how one hip or one leg is taller than the other, which gives him that weird tilt, I believe. Opposed to blighted Springtrap, who's where the spine, like where he had roboscoliosis. You could see it coming in this huge S-shaped bend. Here, his spine is completely straight, which makes me believe it's his broken pelvis that's causing him to lean to one side. Let's see. Back to the render. You can see the cervical vertebrae in his neck coming out. His shoulder blades are pretty much... I'll assume any place where this metal piece was just crushed. And then the metal pieces just took over as the support in that area. You can see his ribs. You can see all the ribs coming through. See the muscle curves here. Sorta see the muscle as it's here. You can definitely see this one. Render. There's gonna be a lot of editing renders out. You can see the muscle coming here. And folding over. It seems a little longer than it should be, but I think it also his deteriorated status might be throwing me off. You can see the muscle here, less on this side, so his top half is kind of leaning with a slant too. So that might be why this one's kind of bulging out and this one's not. This one's kind of stretched. You can see his elbow. I think that's a vein. Kind of hard to tell with the coloring, but I'm pretty sure that's a vein. Like, even in this state, he's got a bulging vein in his arm. Let's check the front. Yeah, he's got just a little bit of a tilt on his shoulders. It might be the position he's in too, so you can see the muscles here and his neck, the clavicle. His pecs are kind of gone, opposed to blighted Springtrap. You can see where they started. You can see one of it here. This one a little less so. But you can see the muscle stretching, the muscle and flesh stretching. This was just destroyed. I don't know what happened over here. There's a giant hole there, or a wound. Probably the spring lock here that did it, but it's a little high. So unless it repositioned itself, it probably, when it snapped in, it probably dug into that hole there, or it created that hole there. And then as he got up and moved around, it may have like repositioned a little higher. You see all the spring locks and the girdle. You see his rib cage. His belly button. Here's the diaphragm, I believe. Then the rib cage. I wonder if that's a nipple. Weird thought, but it's... that also makes me think, what happened to his clothes? Did they just rot off, or did he climb into Spring Body naked for some reason? It's a weird thought. For my sanity's sake, I'm gonna say he just, the clothes just deteriorated and rotted off. See his bicep here. A little bit of a bicep over here. His arms have, not just his arms, but most of his body has withered to the point where it's kind of just stretched over the bone. Yeah, you can see the bicep a little bit here, the tricep a little bit here, his forearm down to where it got. Is there a bone? Oh, there is a bone. This is the forearm. Just render this real quick. You can see the bone. That's an interesting detail. You can see the bone where his forearm was cut off. The ulnus and the radius. Ulna and radi something over here, or one of the two. Yeah, those are the bones. Where they were cut off. That is a very interesting detail. Does this one have it? No. I don't think so. So it looks like his armpit. You know, wanted to see his armpit. That might be where the bones were cut, and they're kinda. So I think it's kind of an accepted thing that Springtrap kind of feeds on a combination of remnant and fear. Because this is the default skin where he kind of just woke up. I think these are the two bones right here. Right here, right here, right here, and right here. But because it's coming out, that makes me think of one or two things. Either this side was cut off in a much less clean way than this side. This side's pretty clean. You can see the bones in there. So this either wasn't as clean or the bones have already started to regenerate and they're slowly starting to poke out. Let's see, where's his hands? Yeah, because there's nothing to stop a bone from regrowing. You see the spring locks around here where they clearly cut off. Those are tight. They clearly cut something off. But there's nothing to stop the bones from regrowing, so he might be regrowing his right arm. Now, there's nothing stopping the left side, but from what I saw from Blighted Springtrap... Oh, no, there is. The spring locks shifted, it looked like, and they're pressed up against the arm. Huh. That also might be just a modeling position, because again, you wouldn't see this. But it's strange that the right side would be regrowing and not the left. Also, now I don't think this, considering how loose it is a spring lock. I think this is just part of like the weight bearing part for the shell and the machinery. Whereas these 6 quote-unquote ribs are part of the spring locks. You see spring locks in here, in there, in here. So there's definitely a difference between like the metal support for the shell and the spring locks. He's got his ears, sort of. Let's get rid of all this. Now, for some reason, yeah, his head is a separate mesh than everything else, and it's weird. I don't know why. Unless it was separated specifically for like the Mori animation or something like that. It's weird. It's a separate piece of mesh. But let's do a render of the side. Okay. So you can see his throat. You can kind of see his Adam's apple too. Right here. Otherwise, I believe it would just go down. But it kind of lumps out. Muscles, the back of the skull. You can see his eyes. His eyes have sunken in so far. This is his skull. His nose is gone. This is the forehead of the skull, the bridge of the nose, and it collapses in. I believe all the flesh and skin and stuff is just withering to the point where it's just attaching to the skull. His gums are being pulled back. He's missing teeth, as I've already said. Now these metal wires, I'm not sure what these are part of. I know what they're part of. They're part of the suit. I don't remember ever seeing an endoskeleton with these though, so it might be something specific to the spring lock suits and not the regular animatronics. If I remember, and I'll have to look at try to find a picture, but I believe in some of the old images from FNAF 3, there was a metal bar that was coming down here. Yeah, because it went through like his skull here all the way down into his jaw. So this might be one of the few changes that Scott wanted to show. But with that, let's check the bone. You can see his ear. You can see his ear, part of his ear's gone. On this side, at least. It's very asymmetrical. You can see his jaw. You can see the jaw bone here. So it comes up. You can see the... I don't remember what this is called. It's like the crest or the head. It comes down. Because it's got like two parts here. You can still see the muscle attaching his jaw to his skull, the mandible to the skull. There is a little bit of flesh shaping the cheek to give it enough muscle to attach to the jaw here. Not much though. Yeah, his nose is gone. You can see the eye socket, and you kind of see it with mummies, where the flesh of the eye around the eye will sink into the socket, and it looks like that's what's going on with William's eyes. His eyeballs are gone, and I believe I heard from Bloodborne, the first thing to really decay is the eyes, but I think in his case they didn't decay. I think when the Springlock's endoskeleton head got shoved in there, they got pushed out, which is where we see because these parts right here are like the weird plastic eye guards you see in the mask, and then his eyes are behind those. You can still see the veins. It's weird. He almost has a ghoul nose from like Fallout. His right ear doing a little better than his left. The jaw is doing a little bit. Like, it seems like everything on the right side of his body does a little better than the left. The lobe of the ear is gone, but most of the rest of the ear is still there. You can see straight through his neck. Behind his jaw, that's the other side. Getting a little too in-depth here. You see muscle attachments from the back of his skull going down. Some here. You still see his tongue in there. The correct anatomy for a jaw, if anyone remembers, Scott gave him like a cleft chin, but it was weird because it was supposed to be like the jawbone, which cleft chins aren't formed from the bone. It just goes back to Scott's difficulty with human anatomy, which again I said is understandable. Some people, it's very difficult to do human anatomy and get it right. The roof of his mouth, his teeth. Let's see, is there anything else? There's not much to... Yes, you can see his right side seems to be doing much better. But there's not much to basic or default Springtrap's body. can definitely see his right ear's doing better. See the headpiece. I don't know why. This is so stupid looking. Wait, can I? No. Oh wait. Yes, I can. Let's get rid of the nose. It's interesting that these aren't in his skull, but you can see where it broke, which anyone who knows FNAF, when William made the questionable decision to jump into the Spring Bonnie suit in the game, even though it was like 8-bit, you could tell that the suit was in a very bad state of decay. So it was already missing an ear too, I believe. So this had probably already broken off. You can see the nails. That would it, well, I would have kind of expected them to kind of be attached to the skull, or gone into the skull, but it seems like they were just part of the head. Oh, and for some reason his bottom teeth are separate. That might be for like the axe grab in the Mori where he yells and his jaw has to open. I'm not sure. I never really liked rigging, weight painting, and animation, so that's beyond my knowledge as to why that's separate. There you go, there's default Springtrap's anatomy. There's not much to it. Not as much as Blighted, but again, if anybody knows an easier way to deal with the models, please let me know. It'd be a great help. And leave your questions, comments, or ideas in the comments.